Fortnite's newest season's been out for a couple days now. I've been asking a bunch of pros, I've watched the tournaments, I've watched the scrims, so I can finally answer what is the best loadout in the current season. What shotgun should you be using? Are there any cool tips and tricks that you should be learning, just like the jetpack trick, which makes it so much stronger? I also want to talk about what is going on with aim assist just completely turning off on PC, and Epic saying apparently it's intentional. I also want to get our first look at the global champs, which is taking place in a few weeks. Why is Peterbot and Pollo getting quintuple contested? Clicks and Venom are getting contested. Malabuka's going up against Booga. There's a lot to break down. Let's jump into it. Let's kick off with the big one. What is going on with aim assist, and why is Epic saying they intentionally turned it off? So if you guys obviously don't play controller or you haven't seen, it's quite common with new seasons where they add new guns, and sometimes the aim assist is a little bit weird. In this season though, there is basically no aim assist on the new guns on PC controller. We have clips like this from Teeny, obviously a very well-known pro, extremely good player, just showing there is just no aim assist on the new guns. Now, this led players like Mero to reach out to Epic and let them know, hey, just there's obviously something wrong with the new guns. There's no aim assist. Can you fix it? The Epic staff have responded saying, I understand that you've been encountering some issues using aim assist while on PC, and I can advise this feature is a console specific feature and isn't available / enabled on PC. So we have Epic staff members letting Mero know, a 6-time FNCS champion on controller, yeah, you're not meant to have aim assist. It's turned off deliberately. Now, I don't think that's correct. I'm pretty sure this Epic employee has gotten confused here. I think they have given out wrong information. There's just no way Epic is just turning off aim assist on PC controller. It's already bad enough. There's a reason why we see almost no PC controller players placing. And again, before console people start getting crazy, aim assist is far better on console. Basically, since aim assist was at its peak of overpowered, like early chapter 2, when everyone was quad dinking going crazy, it has had 2 major nerfs since then. But only PC received 2 major nerfs. Console only got 1 nerf. So console aim assist is still stronger than PC, but obviously if you've looked at any of the leaderboards on basically any of the regions, controller has been struggling compared to PC. Most people have actually been asking for a buff to aim assist, myself included, but it's very, very hard to fix aim assist for controller players who want to compete, because one of the biggest issue is with guns with bullet travel time, obviously it's not hit scan anymore. When you shoot, the bullet doesn't instantly travel and hit the target, right? All the guns are kind of like snipers now. You have to shoot ahead of them. If you make aim assist stronger, it doesn't really help at all at long range, because then your crosshair is going to be stuck on the player and you have to shoot ahead of them. It's actually going to make your aim worse. So they can buff, aim assist at close range, but then that causes an issue where you have control players jumping in the boxes, hitting every headshot like they were in early chapter 2, and then everyone's upset. So I don't know how Epic fixes this issue, but there's very clearly something wrong with aim assist on PC in the new season. Like, some of these guns are just giving no aim assist whatsoever. But if you've heard it was deliberate by Epic Games, I don't think this is true. I think this is just an Epic staff member giving just not very good information, which we have seen in the past. I know it sounds crazy. Obviously, this is the official Epic support. They are supposed to be the best source of information, but they have said things in the past that are just straight up objectively wrong. So I wouldn't just see this email and take it as 100% fact. They're not going to fix aim assist on PC, but it's not a good sign when Epic's and own employees think it's deliberate. All right, let's talk about the new season. Now, I was waiting until we had the evaluation cup so I could actually see how it played out in a competitive meta, not just playing ranked, not just watching pubs. How did it actually go with pro players? Who's carrying what and what's the best? So first off, the big one, shotguns. Is the new Sovereign shotgun actually better than the Gatekeeper? Not really. I haven't seen too many pros using it, but again, a lot of pros will just lean on what they're used to. They'll just lean on what works for them, especially in tournaments. But I still think, after using it a bunch myself, watching pros, asking people on social media, it does seem like the Gatekeeper is still king. Now, there are people in the community, most notably Reese Hub, whose opinion I respect a lot, are saying the Sovereign's better. So maybe it's just players not adapting to it. I know one of the things the Sovereign does best is ADS. There has been a massive buff to all shotguns ADS damage, but the Sovereign hits extremely hard with ADS shots. But the problem is the Sovereign's ADS is very, very slow. People have realized that if you go from switching your pickaxe to the shotgun, it ADS is quicker rather than just having the shotgun out and then ADSing. But even then, unless you have the angled foregrip to get it a little bit faster, it does really feel quite slow. So I do think in almost 95% of situations, two-tacking with the Gatekeeper is still just better, especially if you can get the extended mag on it for 5 bullets. Obviously, that is the big difference between the Sovereign and the Gatekeeper. The Sovereign comes with 6 shots as standard. So in duos, in squads especially, you will have more shots. The reload is extremely slow, but I think in competitive solos and duos, which is the majority of the tournaments, I still just think the Gatekeeper is better. And I say that wanting the Sovereign to be better. I haven't wanted a Gatekeeper to be meta for 3 seasons now. It's getting a little bit repetitive. It's getting a little bit boring. It is a gun that a lot of people are saying is one of the most unskillful shotguns we've ever had. It's very easy to hit high damage shots, but you can't one pump people. You have to go for 2 shots. So it kind of rewards a playstyle of just getting in and hitting your shots, not worrying about piece control or anything like that. So it looks like the Sovereign is definitely stacking up a lot better than the pump shotgun, which again, I don't know why that's even in the meta now. Like, it's more useless than it's ever been right now. It's not even in the conversation. The Sovereign and the Gatekeeper are both just straight up better than it, but it is still holding its own. There's a lot of people out there who think it's better. So I've been watching a bunch of pros play. Almost none of them are using it. I've seen pros like Clicks actually running a blue Gatekeeper over a gold Sovereign. So it's not really a good sign when that's happening, but that could be certain pros just, you know, they don't want to adapt quickly and they're kind of sticking to what they know. But for the most part, after trying to make it work and talking to other players who are trying to make it work, it does still seem like the Gatekeeper is better for fighting. Maybe when it comes to like long range fights, maybe like, you know, a couple boxes away, you've got a scope on the Sovereign, your ADS in, hit like a good 100 tag, that could be better, but I do think the Gatekeeper in most scenarios is still better. As for some of the other major parts of the meta, how is the new jetpack for mobility? Oh, it's terrible, it's awful, it's so slow, we're back to another no mobility meta. I was saying that on the first day of the new season as well. I was really sad to see the jetpack was actually quite weak, but a lot of pro players have figured out now there is a bit of tech to making it go a lot faster. If you double jumps, you get the hover going, you boost, and then you instantly double tap cancel, it'll make you cancel the jetpack and you'll hit a slide. If you only cancel the jetpack, you land, which is still quite fast, but you don't hit the slide unless you double tap it. Now, this is extremely fast, and pros have realized this is very good for rotating, and it almost takes no fuel from the jetpack. You can do this like 20 times and still keep rotating before you have to recharge it, which doesn't take that long. So it's really good for rotates, and because of the quick change in direction, the quick boosting, it is quite hard to hit you. Now, one of the biggest issues with this for competitive is good luck trying to find 2 of them. Trying to find 2 of these, one for you and your duo, from basically any PY on the map just seems impossible. I mean, it's happening occasionally, but very rarely. I feel like in a 12-game grand finals, if you're dropping a solid PY, you might expect that twice, which is not really good. So a lot of people are relying on the Fizzberry, and that's the only form of rotation, because the backpack isn't really worth running if only one of you is running it. You kind of need both people to have it. You can maybe rotate a little bit ahead, build a box, and then hold people so your teammate can run to you, but that's not really the best strategy ultimately. So we are pretty much in a no mobility meta coming into the LAN event, which a lot of people love. I really did want a bit of craziness. I wanted a bit of hype. I wanted a bit of excitement. I would have loved to see a Booga Shockwave onto High-Tech Global Champs, but it looks like we'll have to manage with this. Now, we got to talk about the War Machine turrets. Every time Epic puts something in the game that has infinite ammo, it's always terrible in competitive. Even look at the water bending, right? The water bending wasn't that great, but the fact that it had infinite shots made it ridiculous, and now you have something that is basically a mini mech. Every time I'm fighting someone with this thing, I think I'm fighting 3 people at once. It's just so overwhelming, it's so crazy, and it's just really annoying. I'm guessing Epic will take it out of competitive or nerf it in some way. It's just too easy to sit in your box and just over and over again, and then you sit there, you wait for it to recharge, and you do it again. And then you can even shoot it with the ammo, and all it does is take light ammo, which you can find everywhere, so it's pretty much infinite as well. So I'm not really sure what Epic was thinking with the War Machine. It is just very frustrating at first. It doesn't feel that rewarding to use, so I'm guessing Epic's gonna do something about this. Then you have like the shoulder turret thing going on. Not sure about a gun that just aims for you while fighting. It seems to be super overpowered in 0 builds. In builds, it's not causing too much of an issue, and I think in competitive, no one's really gonna run it unless they come up with some crazy tech with it, because it's just not worth taking up an entire slot. But I do think the War Machine gun will be abused by a lot of people, especially for Surge, unless they take it out. Now, speaking of Surge, what is the best AR right now? It is obviously going to be the Burst AR. The Burst AR with a scope on it is ridiculous. Unfortunately, with no scope on it, it feels really hard to use. It has one of the slowest first shot accuracy I've ever seen. Like, you can crouch, stand there, hold down ADS, and it takes so long to get first shot accuracy. But if you have a scope, that's not an issue. So most pro players will be running this gun a lot for their surge. They will also be running the new pistol a lot. The new pistol is actually really solid for surge. I think it has the fastest bullet travel time of any gun in the game right now. So if you're trying to hit shots at range, it's really, really solid. It does a lot of damage and it takes almost no ammo. Again, you really do need a scope on it if you're going to try and use it for surge tags. But between the burst AR and then the pistol, most teams are going to be able to hopefully in their POI find 2 decent surge weapons to walk away with. Obviously, the SCAR and the combat AR are still extremely good at that close to medium range, put out a bunch of pressure, do a bunch of damage to builds, but ultimately they're just not that good for surge. If you're playing in ranked and you want a good weapon that kind of does everything, I'd pick it up. But for the most part, when it comes to W King, like what's the W King loadout right now, it is pretty much dual SMG because my god, they absolutely melt. Shotgun of your choice, probably Gatekeeper, the jetpack, and then double meds. That's pretty much the meta most people are going to run when they're W King. Obviously, that doesn't give you any long range damage, but you've got the jetpack to close distance. We're talking W King, so you don't need any surge. That's going to be the go-to meta. Again, if you want to have that long range damage capability, but you still want to be able to spray and put pressure close range, you can obviously run a combat AR or the SCAR if you want to, but that is the main go-to loadout. As far as competitive goes, it's pretty much just burst AR, shotgun, and then triple meds, unless you can somehow pull off double backpack, which almost no one is getting the double jetpack. Let's talk about the medallions. Now, obviously, one of these is absurdly terrible. The invisibility medallion. I don't know who at Epic keeps trying to make invisibility happen. Please just let it go. It's never been good. It's never going to be good. This medallion isn't just so bad that you don't pick it up because you don't want to be revealed. It's so bad you don't pick it up because it actually nerfs you. If you're trying to crouch and pop medkits, it'll cancel the medkit. You're still super visible anyway, and again, it marks you on the map. So again, it'll be fun for some kind of meme plays. I saw Laserbeam pulling it out in his video, which was hilarious, but in a competitive setting against good players, it's just not worth carrying. It marks you on the map, and then even if it didn't mark you on the map, half the times you're trying to fight someone, you want to go for a crouch shot. Now you've crouched, you're invisible, so you go to shoot, your gun pulls out super slow. It's just a nightmare. I have no idea what Epic was thinking with this, and again, visibility doesn't belong in Fortnite. They've never made it work. Now, Siphon obviously is Siphon. Very strong in solos, not so strong in duos, because again, only gives it to you, not you and your duo. Will still be good in like duo cash cups, and if you're W King, just won't really affect, you know, high level competitive that much. The one that is going to affect high level competitive, the scan. Now, there is a bit of tech with this one I want to teach you guys as well. It's not just like the Grim medallion where you drop it and you instantly get a dash. That would be absurdly broken. You can't drop it and instantly scan, but what happens is both players have their own 60-second cooldown on the scan. So if you pick up the medallion, you instantly scan, and then it takes 60 seconds until you can scan again. If you drop it to your teammate though, they will instantly scan, but then they can't scan for another 60 seconds. So you can't just keep dropping it between you and your teammate and scan infinitely, but what you can do is have one person carry it, and then when you want to scan, let's say you're about to try to take a fight against someone, you're about to look for a refresh in endgame, you want to find the solos, drop it to your teammate, they pick it up, and then you instantly get the scan. So you can't just have it going constantly, but you can have it ready to go whenever you really, really need it. So obviously, extremely strong, probably the strongest of the 3 medallions. Again, they're nowhere near as strong as some of the medallions we've had in the past. Like, this isn't like the dash medallion, it's not like the old shield medallions that were just super OP. I think it is the 3 worst medallions we've ever had. Again, the scan is good, but even then, endgame, it can get a little bit overwhelming, and unless you are finding solos to go for, it doesn't help you that much. But I mean, you'll take it. You're not going to leave it behind, especially when it comes with the mythic assault rifle. You might as well run it. All right, now speaking of the best gun and best medallion being at one drop spot, what is the best drop spot and where are the pros going coming into global champs? It's in less than 3 weeks, so we really have to start figuring out who's going where, and this is our first look at the drop map. Now, this will almost definitely change. I'm sure it probably already has changed by the time I make this video, but you're definitely seeing a few POIs that have a lot of attention. The Raft, the one I was just talking about, the drops, the medallion, and the mythic AR has 5 teams currently going there, including Peterbot and Poyo. So you have Peterbot and Poyo, the NA FNCS winners, Swizzy and Vanyard, the EU FNCS winners, Trashy and Threats for good measure. Then you have Cal and 7man and Rise and Yuma. So a lot of teams going there. Now, we also again have some other pretty heavily con drops I'm a bit confused about. We have Paper and Victor V getting double contested at what is a pretty awful split. We have Chap and Teeny going up against Cooper and Kanata. We then have Malabuka and Mustache going up against Booga and Aviv with Arrow's team in there. Now, I'm pretty sure Reet and Rich will have actually moved to drop on Epic Whale and Muzz over at Doomstat. So Gon and Knight, I believe, have left there, but we have Ritual going up against Muzz. They did just win the Esports World Cup together, so I don't know if there's any bad blood there. We have 4 teams already trying to lock down the top right, the Doom Castle, but I will mention Turtle and Cheeps aren't going to be playing together for Global Champs. Turtle can't attend, I'm not entirely sure why, and Cheeps was able to pick up Iomzo as a fill. Epic Games this year are actually sending fills to Global Champs in case people can't play, which is awesome. I'm so happy to see Iomzo is going to LAN after what a ridiculously unlucky chapter he's had. Now we have 4 other teams going there as well. We have Shalom, we have Resign's team, and Rezon's team. So again, the new POI is looking very heavily contested. There's going to be some big fights across the board. I wouldn't pay too much attention to it right now. Clicks and Veno are being contested by Coyote, which is an Asia team. Apparently, they've already left the drop spot as well. So as you can hear with me talking about, this team is here, but they've already swapped. Teams right now are just throwing their hat in the ring, seeing if they can alpha up a drop spot, seeing what happens, and then you'll see it start to refine and change up a lot closer to LAN. As we get closer, I'll talk in a lot more detail about who's going where and which storylines are developing. It's gonna be super exciting to watch, but I wouldn't pay too much attention to it right now, but it's worth mentioning. I would love to tell you guys how the Reload Eval Cup went, how our first prize money tournament in the Reload game went, but it didn't. It just didn't work. The NA Eval Cup never started. Epic took 30 minutes to tell us what's even happening, told us to wait, and then 15 minutes later said, oh, we're rescheduling, and didn't even tell us when they're rescheduling it to. So I have no idea what Epic was thinking. Every time they try to run a tournament on a different game mode, something seems to always go wrong. I was expecting something to go wrong, but I was hoping there'd be some hands on deck to fix it. I'm guessing they're looking at it. I hope they can fix it because they're putting $1 million into this tournament for this prize pool this season. Right now we have $1 million of Reload tournaments. They need to figure out what's going on quickly. Now, unfortunately, the EU Eval Cup had the opens, but the finals never ran. But this wasn't the tournament's fault. It's because all of Fortnite stopped working for a couple hours there, and it was right during when the Eval finals were supposed to take place. So the Eval finals are now taking place again today, as I'll be posting this video. Again, I can't really tell you how that went or which team's looking the best on EU. Again, if you're wondering why you couldn't play in the Eval Cup and you didn't watch my previous video, they have changed it now where you need to have gotten series points in FNCS on EU or NA or you're not able to queue. Eval Cup is not now for everyone. They've made it so it's only for pro players to properly evaluate what's going on.